Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Before I get started, I think was it Friday or Saturday, I was watching a little bit of Brock TV's review, and I remember something that it was a comment that somebody had said, and that person was like, "You know what? Listen, I'm really agreeing with Brock TV. Brock TV, straight up was just like, I don't think at this point no one deserves to be, no one is capable of watching that child with everyone's criminal history and stuff like that." And I think he said something along the lines, and I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit. Well, not paraphrasing, but I'm guessing that he was like, at this point, I wouldn't be too surprised if he doesn't end up in foster care. And I'm like, I don't agree with that, but I understand where he's coming from. Everyone in that courtroom, with the exception of Willow, that I can see, um, has done some sort of dirt. You know, isn't perfect in the least somehow. Isn't the least. They all got dirt on them. Not just Nina. So I understand where he was coming from. I don't agree with that, but I get it. Um, I'm gonna be completely honest. This episode, I think the only thing that was actually really worth watching was the courtroom scene. This whole matchmaking scene, I think they were trying to blend it in with a fundraiser. And I'm going to be completely honest, I just felt like this was just an excuse to just get everyone on canvas that they haven't really gotten to in a while. Like, Austin was there, Spinelli was there. I am so sick and tired of watching Spinelli strike out. I really am. I'm just am at this point. And Sam was sitting there grilling him a couple of times, like, "Well, what are you doing here? What's going on with you? What's going on with you?" What do you mean what's going on with him? His best friend is dead. His relationship is ended. He's trying a matchmaking service. What do you think he's there for? What do you mean what's going on with him? I remember she kept something. I was like, "Well, what's going on with you?" Like it was something deeper than, I don't know. I'm bored and lonely, and I want to be with someone. It's not that deep. I didn't really understand the questioning, the grilling. I didn't get it. It's funny when even Austin was talking to Chase, and Austin was like, "So y'all still drawing the ins and outs? Like, what's going on with that?" I mean, first he's sitting there talking to Dante, and Dante's sitting there talking to Brooklyn. And by the way, anyone that watches B&B, I didn't realize it was on yesterday. I thought that all of them just kind of stopped except Y&R. So I will be watching it tonight. Doing a review. Dante was not there talking to Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was like, "Oh, I need a favor." Brooklyn was like, "I need a favor," and Dante was like, Does it involve something being like illegal or anything like that?" And they start talking about Chase, and Dante at this point is just like, "Well, why would he sit there and do a favor for you? He already did a favor for you, and he wound up being suspended for X amount of months. Why don't you cut him? Why don't you cut him some cut him some slack?" Also, just kind of reminded her like, "Yo, listen, everyone is patient, but you know their patience, it comes with limitations." So towards the end of the episode, they get together and they seem like they're about to start talking, and I don't know. And I guess it's this whole thing with Link, because that's still an issue for some odd reason, even though that I thought we were kind of over that. But hey, why not? You got Drew and Britt and Brad there. And of course, Britt is like, "Oh, she doesn't want to do the matchmaking scene and she doesn't want to really be a part of it." And Drew's like, "No, you should do it," and yada, yada, yada. And at this point, I feel like I sound like a broken record for a couple reasons. One, I've said this more than once. Two, DC Soap Sanctuary has said this. I'm pretty sure maybe Brock TV has said this. People in the comment section have said this as far as Britt not being able to move on from Jason. You know, I don't, at this point, I don't even know if it's even about that. I would like to sit there and think it's still about that. Or maybe it's just her, or not really feeling this whole matchmaking thing, you know? I don't know. I think it's a combination of a lot of things, and probably the majority is probably still Jason because why not? Um, let's talk about the courtroom scene for a little bit. So I'm gonna be completely honest. This whole thing with Willow going at Nina, it was just like, what are we doing at this point? First of all, Willow was upset that Scott pretty much attacked Michael's character, and Nina was like, "Listen, I didn't even want this. Like you forced my hand. This is." You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't think this was going to happen sooner or later? Like, you didn't think that this was going to wind up happening? And I'm sitting there looking at this whole thing was like, even when Michael was like, oh, man, I don't know about this whole court thing and how am I going to explain this to Wiley, this, that, and the third. You know, I'm just looking at this whole thing like, well, did no one not sit there and think that when there's a custody, visitation, whatever, that people's ugly past is not going to be brought to light and thrown in people's faces and things of that nature? Like, Carly was all upset about it. I was like, come on, boo, don't sit there and act like you didn't see this coming. You know? But Willow goes on and on and on. She was talking about Nell and Nina, of course. First of all, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to be kind of pissed off when Willow's like, I've given you chance after chance after chance, even when I was doing my job and you came after me when Charlotte was concerned. And Nina was like, oh, I thought you got over that. I was like, you thought that she got over the fact that you try to come at her job and get her fired for you overstepping your place? For her doing her job, you thought she was just going to oh, no, that's cool. No big deal. What? I'm like, I honestly tell you the truth. And granted, I say this every now and then. That was my part of a large majority of my motivating factor before I even started doing reviews in the first place is because when I saw that scene, the way that Nina came at Willow for the whole Charlotte thing, I got so angry. I got so pissed off. That level of privilege, that level of entitlement, that throwing in the gender card. Oh, you're doing this because she's a strong woman. It was like, what? Like, even to this day, it pisses me off just how, unnecessary that was and just how, I don't know, just how unnecessary that was and the privilege and everything like that. But yeah, they go along with that. And of course, Willow brings up Nell, and of course, Nina sits there and tries to she doesn't try to rewrite history. She's like, well, she grew up in an abusive home, and this, that, and the third, and, she was raised differently, and blah, 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 blah. No one cares. I am so sick of it. This is why I have to try my damnness when I don't like a character and I gotta defend them because there's stupid things that come out of their mouths. And there's been times where I've had to sit there and defend Nina and kind of give her props for certain things, but it's so damn difficult, you know? Especially when she starts trying to make it seem like, oh, no, it wasn't a bad person, and it was her the father and her upbringing, blah, 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 blah. No one cares. No one cares. Um, Now, something stupid that Willow said was as far as the apple not falling far from the tree, as far as, Nell wasn't raised by Nina, and yet she still turned out to be crazy and demented and this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, Willow, you do realize that that Nina is Wiley's grandmother, right? So you're just gonna act like that and I get it. She was angry. It was at the heat of the moment, but I was just like, you do realize how that sounds, right? You're basically sitting there saying that there's a good possibility that Wiley wound up just doing a bunch of terrible bad things because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree with Nell and Nina. And of course, um Nina said something about Harmony, and everybody start fighting, and I'm just like, you do realize you're in a courtroom, right? This doesn't look good. You sitting there going at her, grabbing her arm, and everything like that when you're trying to file for, to not actually get this woman visitation rights. This doesn't look good. Can you imagine if the judge just walked past and saw that? Anyway, there was one point where Scott was gonna was gonna do a cross examination after Diane, brought up Willow as far as a witness. Scotty was about to sit there and go and do his job, and Nina was like, "No, enough." I'm like, you realize how he was very apprehensive about taking your case in the first place because he didn't want his hands to be tied behind his back when he was trying to do his job. Now, granted, I mean he wasn't really doing it too well compared to Diane, but the point is, stop Snitted trying to stop him from doing his job. Let him ride. No, it's enough. Okay, I mean at this point, it doesn't even really matter. You know, I felt like she would have been better off trying to get Alexis. Even if she couldn't practice law, she could have been some sort of counsel or something. I mean, damn. Long story short, Chet and Terry wanted breaking up because Terry was like, "You're not gonna stay here, miss your opportunity, do something that you really want to do." So, remember how cute some people thought that they looked together and they was really sitting there rooting for them. They were like, "Oh man, I can't wait to see those two together." I am so glad I was not among those people. I mean, granted, I'm never really among those people anyway, but like, just in general, it's like they barely showed them actually having any form of connection, dating, or anything like that. And then he gets another job, and even though that his sister did it to, for her own selfish purposes, it was still a dream job that he wanted to do. And Tara's not going to sit there and have him stay to be with her. Then it doesn't work out, and then he resents her. So yeah, they didn't work out because like at this point, I don't think they really cared about if they want. I don't think they really cared enough to actually have them try to work out. They didn't really show enough scenes with them, but of course, it's because they have too many damn people, and a lot of the stories sometimes kind of revolve around the Corinthos family. So there is that. Um. Oh, Nicholas. At this point, I just sat there. I was like, "Are you serious?" At this point, everyone knows what I'm talking about. You let barely legal, barely legal Esme seduce you because she's been working you for a while, and Ava has been telling you this girl's working you. And Nicholas like, "Well, how do you know I'm not working her?" Hmm? Yeah, maybe I'm working her. Maybe I'm pulling the old switcheroo, you know, pulling the 360. It's 180, by the way. But my point is that he felt like I'm not gonna let this little girl sit to manipulate me. I'm gonna get really angry and really drunk. And even though I keep telling her I don't want to discuss my marriage, you still. I should tell you the truth. I'm not gonna lie. When she saw him just all vulnerable and everything like that, and she started taking off the shirt, off the other shirt. I was sitting there like, damn, y'all just making it way too easy for a barely legal Esme to just, you know, make all you damn idiots look like fools. And she's done it. And you sit there and start making out with your son's girlfriend or your son's ex-girlfriend. How I you know what, I'm gonna need a minute. Now Ava is at the gun range. Laura. And Laura says something like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And she's like, "Oh, blowing off steam. I practice how I play." And I'm sitting there thinking, Laura, you, your son's wife is angry at Nicholas and is at a gun range. You do realize that this woman at one point in time used to be involved in the mob, right? We just, you, no red flags, no spider sense, nothing. Just okay, all right, sure. So they get to talking about Nicholas, and at this point, Laura is riding for Nicholas. Like, just be patient, just wait, just weather out the storm. I'm still sitting there thinking when Nicholas is like, Ava, do you really sit there and think that you can do better than me? You really think that you can sit there and do better? You know you can't, girl. This is what Nicholas said to his beloved wife. So at this point, more or less, it doesn't really go anywhere. I guess he probably gets her to think about, giving her a little more time and effort and everything like that. But of course, the dreams are going to be dashed because this man decided to make out with his son's girlfriend. It's hard for me to even finish that sentence. Okay? It's hard for me to even finish that sentence, but here we are, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like some of these kissing scenes are starting to look a little more real. I made a comment in my Days of Our Lives review of EJ and how this man doesn't look like he's acting. You at this point, we all know. We've been watching any sort of TV shows or what. We all know the difference between a TV kiss and a real kiss. Okay? There's a TV kiss, it's a real kiss. I felt like that was not a TV kiss. Okay? I'm just pointing that out there. But anyway, I guess whatever sorts of hopes and dreams that Ava may still have for her marriage is gonna be well done. Oh, and Carly gets her she gets the results for the paternity, or she gets a call. I don't know if she's gonna get the paternity that day. I don't know if she's actually gonna sit there and tell the truth. She probably won't because at this point, why not? We already been sitting there keeping parents away from their children for you know years now. So why stop at this point? And that's the thing. It's so funny too. I was sitting there watching DC Sanctuary's review. And he was pretty much just like, how many times did this woman actually kept a child from their parent? We just gonna keep doing the same thing. Okay. Um. By the way, I love these hashtags when you go on, you go on these celebrities, soap opera celebrities, pages, and I went on Chad Duell's page, and people were like, "Oh, I'm Team Michael and Willow. I'm Team Carly. I'm Team Nina." I'm like, I'm Team Logic. Can we have some logic in here? Could we just do that? Could we just do that for like a little bit? Could we just pretend that people are like just rational adults and just kind of admit that everyone has their flaws and no one's perfect and we shouldn't be really snitching to the same team anyone specifically? No? No? Okay. Alright, cool. I feel like that's about it at this point. Like I said, the whole matchmaking poll scene was just, it was unnecessary. I really felt like it didn't go anywhere. They just threw a bunch of people in there because at this point, why not? Why not? I really do hope that they do some of these characters like Jerome. I know a lot of people they're not liking Drew. They're not liking Cameron as Drew. I like Cameron as Drew. I just wish that they give him something more to do. I feel like maybe his height was at this whole, getting away from Peter and his clutches and everything like that. That was his height. That was his literal apex. And ever since then, it's just been, I don't really know what the hell they're actually doing with him at this point. But you know what? Cam's got a job, and I guess that counts for something. I feel like that's about it. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.